What's up, everyone? I'm Jamie with threelittlegoats.com. If you're new here, welcome to my channel. If you've been around for a while, welcome back. Glad to see you as always. This week I am not doing a soap making video. I know I am actually in the middle of cleaning my office out, purging and organizing and doing all kinds of stuff like that. So no soap making video this week, but I will be making some soap videos in the upcoming week. So if you want to see those, make sure that you hit the subscribe button below for those. So today I'm actually going to show you how I built my craft desk. I built this desk about a year ago. I actually uploaded the original video to my other channel, but I decided I wanted to share it over here as well. It's a custom desk that I built myself. I know, I'm a closet woodworker. I love building things. If I have the chance to build something, I'm going to build it. I built my kitchen table, a couple side tables and things throughout my house, and I just love it. So any chance I get to get my hands on some wood and my power tools and things like that, I am all for it. Plus, with a desk the size that I built, it would have easily cost $200 to $300 plus, and it actually cost me around $100 with all of my materials, and I had leftover materials for a different project as well. So that's always nice. I never get rid of spare wood. I have a huge stockpile of scrap wood in my garage, which probably drives my husband a little bit crazy, but I figure eventually I will need it. So I am going to show you how I built this desk. It's not a step-by-step of exactly how I built it. It's just to give you an idea of, if you wanted to build something similar, how to do it. And if you want more information or have any questions, be sure to leave them down in the comments below and I will try to answer them as soon as I can. And let's get started. So I started off with heading over to my local Home Depot, and I ended up picking up 3 4x8 sheets of the melamine coated plywood, and I had them cut it down to 32-inch sheets. That way it was easier for me to manage and I could fit it in my car, and it worked out pretty well because with each sheet I got 2 sheets that were exactly 32 inches and then 1 sheet that was just a little bit longer than 32 inches, which I ended up using 2 of those for the top and bottom, so there was a slight lip on those pieces. Now, before I ever left for Home Depot, I used Photoshop to kind of draw out exactly what I needed for this project, and I'm going to do all of my measuring and my cutting outside, and then I'm going to assemble everything in my office piece by piece. That way I don't have to move the entire project once it's completely built into my office, because it ends up being a very heavy build. So I'm just going to measure out everything, and I will have that information in the link below of the exact measurements of the box that I built if you wanted to do this project yourself, and then you could fill in all of the cubbies as well. Once I had the measurements marked for my side panels, I'm just going to use my table saw to cut those down. Now, if you don't have a table saw, you could also use a circular saw for this project as well. Once I was done cutting down the side panels for my table, I moved over to my Craig jig, which is what I use to make my pocket holes. If you plan on doing any type of woodworking projects in the future, I highly recommend getting a Craig jig. They have different ones at different price points, and they just make the job so much easier, and they make sure that the joints are nice and tight, and it really helps to stabilize your build. I love my pocket hole driller, my Craig jig. It's my favorite tool of all time. Once I had all of my pocket holes drilled out, I moved the top and bottom as well as the side panels inside to my office so I could attach them. It just made it a lot easier than having to move everything at once. So I'm just going to line up my side panel with the top panel, and I'm going to use my pocket holes that I had drilled to attach them. I left about a 1/4 of an inch lip on the top to inset the panel a little bit. It's optional, you can align them straight on if you wanted to, but I just thought it looked a little bit nicer with the side panel being inset a little. Once one side was attached, I moved on and I attached the other side in the same exact manner. After the 2 side panels were attached, I went ahead and I attached the bottom panel as well, and then I cut a piece to fit inside that I can use across the bottom in order to hold my longer, heavier wooden backdrops. And I did the same thing. I cut it to size, I drilled pocket holes, and then I tapped it into place and used a speed square to make sure everything was squared up before attaching it on both sides. Now, since I am kind of building this as I go outside and bringing everything in, I'm taking measurements as I go, and right now I'm measuring the vertical panel that will go in on the side to create a separate little cubby. So I'm just going to measure in. I measured in 13 inches on the bottom panel of the table as well as on the top panel. Then I measured the distance between them in order to get the exact length that I would need to cut that panel. Once all my measurements were done for that panel, I went outside and I cut it down to size and drilled some pocket holes in it to attach it just like I did with the side panels. After that piece was in, I flipped the table right side up, and instead of using pocket holes to attach the shelving units that I'm putting in there, I opted to use a piece of scrap 1x2. That way I could just screw that in, and if I needed to adjust it later on down the line, I can easily unscrew it and adjust it either higher or lower depending on my needs. So I've just cut down a piece of scrap 1x2 and I cut them down into 8 inches so I could use it as a spacer to make sure everything was lined up and level, and I'm just going to screw scrap pieces down onto each side so I can slide my shelves in. Once those braces were screwed into place, I took the unit and I flipped it upside down. That way I could add casters to it because this is a fairly large desk. The overall dimensions is 4 feet wide by 32 inches deep, so I wanted to add casters to it. That way if I needed to move it somewhere else in my office or to another room, I could just easily roll it out. And I'm adding casters on each of the 4 corners as well as 2 in the middle because it is a very heavy desk and I wanted to give it that extra support in the middle so it wouldn't sag. So I'm just going to measure in where I want my casters and mark the holes, and I'm just going to screw all of those down. After my casters were all secured, I flipped the table right side up and then I added edge banding to all of the cuts. That way it was a nice white clean line and I didn't have any exposed press board showing. It just gives it a cleaner look, and with the edge banding it comes in strips and it's got heat activated tape on it, so you literally just line it up, and I used an iron to adhere it all to the desk. So that is what I have got for you guys today. If you like this video, be sure to give it a big thumbs up. It really helps. And if you haven't already hit that subscribe button, be sure to do that as well. And I have a couple other woodworking projects that are kind of like spinning around in my head because the weather's starting to get warmer and I really want to get outside and do some projects. If you're interested in seeing other woodworking projects, let me know down in the comments below. I am by no means an expert at this, but it's something that I really love to do. I love building things, and it's fun. Who doesn't love to build things if they can? Why build it? Why buy it if you can build it? Yeah, that's what I meant to say. Like, I want to build possibly a play stand for the goats so they have something to jump around on, especially if my baby goats ever get delivered. Zena's outside just staring me down right now because she knows I'm mad at her because she's still holding my baby's hostages, and she is very wide right now. So those are some of the projects that I have coming up. If you want to see them, let me know. And again, I'll be doing more soap videos in the coming future as soon as I get my office put back together. And if you want to see an office tour, be sure to let me know down below as well, and I can possibly do one of those as well. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye.